24/7 with you.
Hello everyone! In this video I will analyze the first verse of the beautiful BTS's song Blue and Grey. If you have missed my previous videos, please check them out on my channel to have a more complete analysis of the song. So let's start!
어디서부터 잘못됐는지 잘 모르겠어. 나 어려서부터 머릿속엔 파란색 물음표. 어쩜 그랬어 치열하게 살았는지 모르지. But 뒤를 돌아보니 여기 우두커니 손이 나를 집어삼켜버리는 저 서스퍼른 그림. 여전히 더 파란색 물음표는 과연 불안인지 우린지. 어쩜 정말 후회의 동물인지 아니면 외로움이 나을지 여전히 모르겠어. 서스퍼른 blue 잠시되지 않길 바래 찾을 거야.
The first verse is the first of the two rap parts of the song. In it, the sound of the guitar, previously dominant, is accompanied by several instruments, as if to reveal the presence of more thoughts, more memories that crowd the mind of the protagonist. The sound of that weary sigh, mentioned in the intro, appears here more frequently, making an effective bond with the previous part. You can hear it at the beginning of the verse. And after the Korean word meaning loneliness, making it even more significant. The music perfectly follows a stream of consciousness, especially in the following chorus, where the voices return to express the simple, innate desire to be happy, and a heartbeat is heard, pulsing faintly. A series of sounds that also appear in the passage from the second verse, the second rap part of the song, sung by J-Hope and RM, to the following chorus, which gives the song a symmetrical and balanced structure. In this verse, the singer reveals that he does not remember how everything he is experiencing has happened. One thing is certain, from his youth, he had a blue question mark in his head, a sign of how this state of melancholy, and above all its root causes, were for him, even then, a mystery. In this regard, the song 0 O'Clock seems to have inspired this doubt about how the inner malaise has started, as well as the subsequent reference, which will be discussed in another video, to the idea of heaviness. It is interesting to notice the reference to a line in Suga's interlude by the American singer Halsey, the result of the collaboration with Suga. In my head, these wanderings that are only full of blue. As I have mentioned in my first video, blue evokes an idea of distance and consequent nostalgia, perfect therefore to connote the digressions that crowd Suga's mind and that Taehyung also found himself experiencing firsthand. It is no coincidence that Yoongi sings this very first verse. Like Taehyung, he has experienced moments of anxiety and depression, and he refers to this in some of his solo songs, such as The Last, So Far Away and Strange. Not only that, the color blue, a color full of meaning for Suga, is mentioned 3 times here. Furthermore, this color dominates in different shades the concept photo of Suga for the album B, to represent, according to him, the different shades of the sea. This idea is also clear in a verse of Telepathy, Chamshi, a song of B, written, among others, by Suga himself. But let's go back to the protagonist of Blue and Grey. In the third line, after reflecting on the fact that he has never known the real reason of his condition, he states, "Maybe that's why I've been living so fiercely." Feeling alone, he did not want to give in to depression, but tried to emerge from that abyss, from that night, seeing, perhaps, a glimmer of hope. This idea also appears in Love Maze.
사방이 막혀있는 미로성 막다른 길 이심의 속을 우린 겨내고 있지 yeah. 저기 하나 다른 빛 그네가 널 향해 되고 있길
And in Abyss, sung by Jin.
숨을 참고서 나의 바다로 들어간다 아름답고도 슬피 우는 나를 마주한다 저 어둠 속에 날
Even in this condition, however, he cannot help but take a look at the past, remembering what he lived and will probably relive again. He is thus swallowed up again by that shadow that had already clouded many of his days, and affirms that, despite everything, despite that brief recovery and desire to emerge, the blue question mark that has long dominated his mind still exists. The image of the shadow that seems to engulf the protagonist had already made its appearance in other BTS's songs, among these Interlude Shadow, written and sung by Suga. The shadow is seen as a real monster, a creature that destroys men from within. This seems to recall a theory of the Swiss philosopher and psychoanalyst Carl Jung, according to which the individual encounters and collides with archetypes, unconscious organizations of his own personality, persona, shadow, animus and anima, and self. The shadow, in particular, represents the most unpleasant and negative part of the psyche, as well as the instinctual impulses that the individual tends to repress. It personifies everything that man refuses to recognize and influences his behavior, expressing himself with unpleasant traits of the character or with tendencies incompatible with the conscious part. Just a little digression. BTS's album Map of the Soul Persona, released on the 12th of April 2019, is based on some basic principles of Jung's analytical psychology. It includes an introductory song called Intro Persona, rapped by RM, and deals with various aspects on the scholar's theories. The following year, on the 21st of February 2020, the band released the album Map of the Soul 7, which focuses specifically on Jung's shadow and self's archetypes, represented mostly by the songs Interlude Shadow and Outro Ego, sung by Suga and J-Hope respectively. Even in a verse of Louder Than Booms, the image of the shadow resurfaces.
I want to tell you, 어둠은 말해 어디라도 있다면 두려워 말해 어떤 밤이 날 삼켜도 나 포기하지 않아 No, we are fine, we're shy.
The darkness and, above all, the night that are mentioned refer, by analogy, to the shadow present both in Blue and Grey and in Interlude Shadow. Even if it seems that they have the upper hand, it is stated here not to fear them, not to give up. As it will be seen in Blue and Grey, the protagonist of Louder Than Booms is also convinced that this inner fight will have a positive outcome and that he can, together with the listener he is addressing, return to shine, defeating the darkness once and for all. Two questions emerge at this point, destined to inevitably remain unanswered. The first one is it anxiety or depression? It should be noticed that such anxiety and depression, indicated respectively in the text with the terms puraninji and urinji, do not refer to real clinical disorders, identified instead by the terms buranchang and ulchang, but rather to a condition of profound discomfort and melancholy. Despite having lived with this state of mind for some time, the protagonist also struggles to define it. Is it anxiety, depression, maybe both? A tension, a frustration due to waiting for something that is slow in coming, something happy, something sad, nobody knows. And in all this, depression hovers over him, a heavy, continuous, monotonous resignation, which leads him to wonder, could it be that humans are really the animals of regret, or is it just me who was created by loneliness? This second question evokes another song by Suga, People, in which the singer states, "Who said that humans are the animals of wisdom? To my eyes, it's obvious that they are the animals of regret." Now, while Suga appears to be convinced that the men are known rather than for their wisdom, for their repentance that comes from their mistakes, Taeyong remains doubtful. Is it possible that the sense of guilt he feels is common to all, or is it just up to him to feel this way? Failing to find the cause of his inner discomfort, he is led to blame the human being with whom he is most in close contact, himself, the son of loneliness, of that ferocious blue whose essence he still does not completely know. The use of the adjective paran, previously associated with the word morompyo and gorimja, shadow, is not accidental. In addition to meaning ferocious or sharp, it can also be literally translated as deep blue. This connotation, so incisive, which describes the state of mind of the protagonist, can be as much a sign of how oppressive, almost feral his malaise is, as well as how, just like a beast, that blue, that existential discomfort, is rebelling, perhaps precisely because the protagonist of Blue and Grey is perceiving, albeit very far away, a possible way out. It is evident here the reference to a line of Black Swan, in which occurs, as in the fifth line of Blue and Grey, the verb samkida, to swallow. "Nothing can swallow me," I shout out with ferocity. Uncertainty, however, always looms. Indeed, that "I don't know" already found at the beginning of the verse is repeated again. Not all, however, is lost. In the last part, a sense of hope emerges, that hope not to be eroded, to remain psychologically and mentally intact. The erosion that is mentioned refers not only to the image of water, and consequently to the blue color, but also to the depression felt by the singer, which consumes his mind slowly to the point of leading him to think that the doors of any prospect of hope and salvation are permanently closed. But the protagonist, in his heart, does not want this to happen. He is confident, he still hopes, and in a further extreme attempt, he claims that he will find an escape route. "I'll find the exit." That's all for now. In my next videos, I will continue my analysis of Blue and Grey, hoping that it will help you know and appreciate even more this beautiful song. But before you leave, let me say a big thank you for watching my video. See you soon, and do not forget to like, share and subscribe.